We are live! Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Show Must Go On. Line. Today's guest is Grace Aki. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantabulously. We were just talking about how we are doing well under the circumstances, and that I feel like has become the norm of everyone being like, I mean, I'm good. Like, I'm not great, but I'm good.
I'm good, but not great. But we're live, so that's good.
Which, let me just say, a miracle in and of itself for a lot of us. So totally cool. But thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too shabby. Much happier now that we're chatting.
Here we are.
Yes. I was just taking Slimbo out to the field. Slimbo is my adorable pup who's sitting right outside for anyone who's not familiar. So if you hear some barking, that's why.
I love that for you.
Thank you. Perfect. You know, what they always say for like live interviews or podcasts, if you don't have a little bark in it, like what's really even the point?
See, I just have a cat that says nothing, but then all of a sudden, like in my stuff, you'll just hear like, oh my God, look at her, she's so cute. And I'll just like literally just be looking at her, and she's doing something innocuous, literally just being like, and I'm like, oh. So I don't have the barking, but I will exclaim how adorable she is, her having done nothing, which
that's fair.
Yeah.
We love that for you. Mm-hmm. Love that journey for you. Perfect. So let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. Let's hear your origin story. What got you into theater and acting and all that jazz?
Okay. I actually will tell the legitimate origin story of this. When I was 5 years old, I wouldn't shut up. And my mom was like, this is annoying. What do I do with this? And someone suggested, like, my mom doesn't have a background in theater. Like, she works in nonprofit. She's incredible. But she, did not have a performing background at all. And she was, someone said, like, oh, you should, try audition for, this community play. And she was like, okay, cool. And then I went, and I couldn't fully read yet. And I auditioned for like the Three Little Pigs, and I got Quackers the Duck. And my mom was like, oh, that's cute. Like, they gave her like the duck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and come to find out, like, in this particular production of the Three Little Pigs, Quackers the Duck was the main character. And she was like, no, because I had to learn so many lines and I didn't know how to read. And so my mom was like, oh gosh, how did this happen? And basically the journey of this particular Three Little Pigs is that, like, Quackers the Duck is hired to come in and hire the wolf because no one likes that the pigs have moved in. And I'm like, is this gentrification? Okay. But it was, absolutely wild. And the director was so kind, came up to my mom and said, hey, I just want you to know, like, your daughter is going to be an amazing actor. And she was like, oh my God. And then opening night came, and he came up to my mom again after like weeks of rehearsal. We're all, young. And he goes, I just want you to know that I'm so sorry I lied to you. And she was like, what? And he goes, she is not going to be a good actor. She won't stop bossing everyone around. She's going to be an amazing director. So that's my origin story of getting into the performing arts, is basically a man being like, she's great. And then being like, JK, I take it back. She is bossy. So that's kind of where I've come from, is just like winging it. Quackers the Duck.
I am obsessed with this.
Really? Because it's just the truth. Like, I wish I could be like, well, I started dancing when I was 3. That's true. I started doing plays, and then I was like an on-air, like, Cartoon Network kid when I was like 11. And so I was just a ham. It was annoying. I was a ham. And I never stopped talking, and here we are today. That's where we're at. Yeah.
We have a lot in common.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Great.
Talk a lot. What? I mean, we're in a good business for that.
I think so. I think it's working out. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are like, hey, you talk a lot. And I'm like, well, some people listen to that and subscribe. So,
Yes. And then here you are. Here you have this audience. Here we are.
And here you are with all of these fabulous things you're doing with Tell Me on a Sunday podcast and Broadway Radio, which, is a great way to start your morning.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, they approached me because they had heard my podcast as well. And Matt, who's one of the co-hosts, was like, just this person would be so great. And so I'm so honored to like talk about the news every single day. Like when you keep up like you and I do, it's like, oh, it's a natural progression to be like, I can talk about these things because I know what's going on. And so I love getting to do Broadway radio. It's a great way to start your morning. Like you said, it's only like 20 minutes and we tell you every single thing in case you missed it on Twitter. That's literally like, hey, this came out and we're going to let you know all the facts. We let you know about like all the shows coming up, openings, guidelines, all that stuff, because we've been in COVID time since I've been on the show, but we're now going to pivot into like real Broadway news because now it's happening and we're so excited. But yeah, so I love doing it.
Yay. And I see Derek here, one of my show Treon, says, it's the way I start my morning. Yeah, Derek.
Thanks, Derek. I'm so glad that I am in your ears when you're sipping whatever you're sipping in the morning. I think of me fondly. I guess that's how I'd put that. So thanks.
Yeah, that's perfect. And so I will just give a quick plug for the Showtrons, which is the BYHO Patreon squad. And it is just, you have a Patreon as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I have it through Tell Me on a Sunday podcast. I had to stop at the midpoint of season 1 last year because I don't know if everybody's familiar, but like there was a pandemic for me. I don't know about you, but there was a pandemic for me.
Okay. I hope that's okay for you.
I got a little Pamela ding dong, and I was like, I can't. Things are awry, as they say in the film industry. So I was like, I gotta pause. And I still have my Patreon because the show's still running. Like it's still streaming. You can still do it. And now I'm going back into season 2 of it, which is fantastic. And so I have that coming out in the beginning of June, which is like TikTok so soon. So yeah, I have that link to me. And then of course, like Broadway Radio's Patreon is great because you get the news first before everyone else in the morning. So there you go. That's it.
Yay.
Yeah.
What time do you have to do that every day?
We record as soon as all of the news is in for the day, like after 5 p.m. because we gotta get every single PR. We gotta get all of it. Yeah. So like midpoint in the night when everybody's like available to go, we get the script done. We keep track of all the news for the day, and then we release it that night to our Patreon people. And then in the morning is when it goes to the general public. But by then, usually like half of the stuff because you keep up. Otherwise, you know what? It's a great way to find out what happened. So there you go.
True. Well, and I'll say I even really like listening to it, even though I keep up with like the Twitter discourse and everything. Sure. It's nice to hear it like all rounded out and in like a concise way and hear like some opinion, but it's not like overly opinionated, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, thanks. Like I feel the same way, like we also have like a wealth of knowledge beyond like the press release that comes out. So it's great to digest and be like, oh, right. Like I forgot this person produced this 3 years ago in this other state and we saw it then. Like, you know what I mean? It's more than just like, here's what's coming up. Buy a ticket now. Like we've got some more nuance than that. So I appreciate that you notice it as well.
Totally. And you do have a great radio voice.
Oh, thanks. I also have a radio face.
Stop. Oh my goodness.
Well,
get off.
Where we're coming from live, if I can just like shift.
Please.
This is my bonus dad's radio studio. I grew up, with a family that was already in the radio business. My bonus dad, Rick, has been an on-air personality for 35 years. And so I started doing radio commercials when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I think my first one was Tommy's Market. They sell Indian corn, which I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, what does that mean? So I come from a background of people that would not shut up, I guess is the theme of the day.
Wow. This is just
coming back to my childhood home was when I was recording the podcast and recording Broadway Radio. I was like, oh, this is not going to be a problem. Yeah. We're set up for this.
We are set up.
We're set up.
Yeah, I hope, and please, Derek, or anyone watching, let us know how the audio visual is. If you have any comments, questions, we will be getting to that throughout the interview.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless they're rude, in which case they're not wanted.
Yeah. This is positive
as
only.
It's good.
Yeah. Comments as long as it's good. Brought to you by SHO and Grace.
There you go.
I like it. Yes. So let's dive into Tell Me on a Sunday.
Please, face first. Let's go.
Whoop! It is such a fabulous podcast, and I love that. Thanks. I really mean it, because I've already listened to a lot of them over the summer last year. And then in anticipation of this, I was like, let me listen to a few of these again. And it's like one of those things that even though you know the conversation and the banter, it's still so enjoyable a second time around.
Oh, that's really kind. Thank you so much for listening to it. Like I had a great time making it. I have a great time making it now. But that means so much that you listened to it and then you went back and listened to it again because yeah, I had a lot of fun making it. But anytime you create anything, you're like, well, I hope someone else thought good.
Yep.
But we also can't, as artists, like we can't create for other people as much as like I've always been in the business of business. At the same time, this was my first like truly labor of love saying it's okay if no one listens to it. I wanted to do this for me. And I think that that's why I've had so much like positive review, because it's genuinely, would I listen to this? Yes. I like it. I like the people. A lot of times people have asked me like, oh, I want to be on your show. And I was like, it's not like an interview show though. It's not like a normal, like, what are you plugging? It's literally people that I've just known and said like, I think that they can tell good stories. You know what I mean? There's such a difference. And because just being on like press wagons and artists, whatever, as an actor in New York, I kept hearing people in interviews just be like, okay, tell us about your next project. Where did you go to school? And it's just like, there's more to people. Like, I really think there are more. And I think that you do a great job of that as well. Like, that's probably why we vibe, is because, we're so invested in like the journey of an artist and not just like, cool project. What's your 54 Below album? Shut up. Like, that's it's just, that's not fun for us. And as necessary as it is, that's for them. That's for like, Broadway.com to do. That's cool. Like, go off, queen. But like, you know what? There's more, and there's more conversations, and there's more stories to be had, because I learn a lot from listening to other people's stories. I don't know about you, but like, it's like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Like somebody, I was talking to a friend of mine. I don't want to give it away, but they're going to be on season 2 of the pod, and we were talking about bootlegs, and they brought up so many points that I never. I know you know who this person is too. That I was like, I never thought of it that way as a person on a Broadway stage being anti-bootleg. Like, what does that mean for you? And they brought up the great point of like, when they perform, their performance is encapsulated, the people that were there that night, it's for them. And if they like messed up, or there's like a wrong note or something, they have the ability the next day to like recoup and like do that. But when it's on a film and everyone watches it, their performance is stuck that way, and that's not the way theater's intended. And I always have been like a huge bootleg supporter, because I'm like, that's how I got to know, like that's how I got to watch the dogfight. Shut up, like like that's so hearing these different perspectives and hearing these stories is just, it makes you a better performer, listener, and audience member, and that's what I like doing on that show. So I don't know if that you didn't really ask a question about it, but I hope that helps.
Honestly, I love when you just take a prompt and you run with it.
I will run slowly because I have bronchospasms and exercise asthma, but I will jog with it. I will slightly lug.
Okay, great. So I think, oh no, are we freezing? Hello, everyone. This happens sometimes. I'm going to pause for 2 seconds. Maybe you can still hear me. Maybe you can't. This sometimes happens because we are live in a panorama. Let's give this a second here. Oh no. I'm going to refresh. Hello, y'all. How is this back? Are we back? Oh no. I'm gonna stand by and see. This sometimes happens here, that the internet just gives out, even though it's like a stunningly beautiful day. Stand by, y'all. Oh.
I don't know where we went.
Hey!
How amazing. I was like, well, I guess I'm out. Don't know what happened.
Great conversation.
Cool story, bro. Bye. Imagine. Literally,
Thanks for your 15.
Know. Thanks for your 15. Thank you, 5.
Thank you, 5. Yeah.
A true 5. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, here we are. We're back.
Here we are. This happens at the beginning of the pandemic. Like you said, you had to make a pivot with your podcast, and with me too. Like, we were filming out here. It is just, weather happens and internet, and it's live. The show must go on.
The show must go on, and it really did quickly go back on for us. Yes. I'm amazed at everyone's ability to like do streaming right now. Like, literally, you were like, here's the StreamYard, here's this, and I'm like, she's got it together. Like, everyone's gotten it together so well, and I'm just like, that's awesome. I would like to co-sign getting it together. That's my journey right now. So thank you. Thank you again for letting me back in the room.
Yeah. Thank you for rejoining us. This has been great.
Yeah. Well, I'm, offer only. And so that worked out for me. Mm-hmm.
Well, and this time I would like to offer you to tell us a story about, is there any time that you've done a show where something went awry and now it has become a memorable experience for you?
Okay. You know what? I'm going to bring it back to middle school because we've all been in middle school. I'm going to bring it back to a production called Dearly Departed. A lot of the things that I've enjoyed in my life have been surrounding death. And I think the show was like about people that ran a funeral home. I actually don't totally remember because that's not really the point of this. But I was playing a part where I was named Precious, not based on the novel Push by Sapphire, but I was just playing a character named Precious. And they had added it to the script. So there was like this older sister and then me in part of the family, and the whole joke, which looking back, like, this seems a little sus. The joke was that like my sister always was taking food from my character. Like, my character didn't speak, but they were constantly like at the table. It was like a comedic gag that like, everybody would be eating, and then I would like, because I was very small, I'm like 4'10" even now, but I would like try to run up to the table, and then she would like yank the food from me, and then the audience would just be like, oh. So there was this one night where we were performing, in the multi-purpose room. We didn't even have a theater, and my character, whatever, I like started to crawl across the top of a couch to get to the food, like to get to like some food that I saw on a little table next to the couch. And then my sister yanked the food from the table. And as soon as I did that, I did this thing where I like froze and then fell off this backside of the couch, not on purpose. I just like froze, and then I was like, I don't know where to go. And then I like fell back because I was supposed to just like missed it, but I was crawling on top of the table or the couch so like hard, like a cat, that I fell, and the audience literally like threw up laughing. Like, they were like, oh my god, it's the greatest thing we've ever seen. And I fell, and I like busted my side up pretty hard, and I had like bruises. But what I learned is that like comedy is so much about timing, and like the rush of high that I got from everyone laughing was like, all right, I'm going to do this every time. Like, I'm going to do this every single time. And I asked the director, I was like, can I like fall again? And they were like, it's like really not safe. Like, we were on like risers. There was no like stage. It was like risers. And then I fell back, and I was like, but I want that laugh. And so like, it just taught me like, even when things go wrong, and like as a performer, when you enjoy the way an audience takes a thing, you want it so bad that you're willing to bust up your side as like a 12-year-old girl or whatever. Yeah, so that's just one story, I guess, about how like I just, even when things go wrong, like still enjoying that, and like not caring that you get bruises, like not care, even though like that's not safe, guys. This is not me promoting that. Really, really unsafe situation for me. Yeah.
You were dedicated.
I've always been a really hard commit to the bit person, to the point of like, you need to like simmer. Like
simmer
like
down.
You're boiling and you need to simmer. Yeah.
Oh,
soft
yes.
boil.
Oh,
No.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's pivot again over to To Free a Mockingbird.
Ooh, yeah. That's a play I wrote. I started working on this, I think 2 years ago, because it's weird because I had just kind of really gotten the ball rolling with it, and then the pandemic happened. And so it's a play that I wrote 2 years ago as a solo piece when I was working at I was working on material at the Barrow Group, which I don't know if you're familiar with that school or off-Broadway theater, but they do great stuff. Like I'm not saying that because I'm like, I think I'm great. I just mean like what they do is fantastic. Like Seth Barish, who worked with me on it, did all of Mike Birbiglia's solo shows. And like, that's my idea of like, oh my God, that trajectory for me would be like amazing. But anyway, so I worked on it there. A girl by the name Kate Robards, who is incredible also as a solo artist, kind of approached me and said like, hey, can I like try directing this? And I was like, yeah, that would be like great. I love like female collaboration. And so, yeah, we started doing it there, and it's about a 75-minute piece that I do. Like, I don't have a set. I could probably do it anywhere as long as I had my phone and then a Bluetooth speaker. Like, that's the way I've been doing it for the past like 2 years. I've been workshopping it. I just got it picked up by SHE which is a division of SHE NYC. I know, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you attend Women's Day on Broadway, but that's where I found out about them. And then I started exactly. And so I started applying for their stuff because I was just like, they believe in women. They believe in art. Like, I want to also contribute to that. And so on a whim, I submitted my script, and it was the first time something, and I just want to say this as like as a writer, I don't view myself as a writer because, you know, we all have imposter syndrome about a thing that we like really care about. And I submitted my script, and they were like, yes, we want to produce this show in Atlanta. And I was just like, you mean like just based on my words? Are you sure? Like, so it was so exciting because like as an actor, you know, you have to go on camera and I have to do all these self-tapes all the time. And it's just like, I hope you like my face. And with this, it was like, you liked my words. That's crazy to think about. And my ideas and my storytelling. And the show is it has a lot of like laughs. I call it generational trauma for a comedian. And that's kind of what it is. It's generational trauma is funny, right? Question mark, question mark. And it kind of takes the history of like my family coming from Japan, my history of my parents meeting, my love stories, and they kind of culminate into like what do we take with us as storytellers, and what do we want to reevaluate, and what do we want to continue to perpetuate through time. That's kind of that. So I'm excited to present it. We don't have dates totally solid yet, so TBH. But we should know that by the beginning of June because we're going to start streaming it. I know we're filming it, and we're going to stream it in September, which is like so exciting.
Yay!
Yeah.
That is so exciting. I love SHE NYC and SHE NYC Arts as a whole brand, everything. I actually also saw them at Women's Day on Broadway, and then was like, this was 2019. What is time?
Same. Yeah.
Jeremy Bearimy, right? And I saw them in the lobby, and I was like, hey, so I'm a theater reporter and photographer, just moved back to the city. If like you need anything that has to do with any of these things, like filming, photography, reporter, like let me know. And they were like, actually, we do. And then I became their in-house photographer for the 2019 season.
See, look at you go. And this is, again, to all of your viewers right now, shoot your shot. What are we doing? Like, why are we sitting on the sidelines? If you feel like you can do something, like you offered your services, you're like, I am good for this. And I believe in you. And they're like, yeah, cool. I believe in you too. Like, that is how we do this as people, as artists, as women, like whatever it is, shoot your shot. Straight men have been doing it for years. I'm just like, what are we out here? So yeah, I love that. So much truth in this. And the imposter syndrome that you're saying is like, why do we keep feeling this? Like, clearly we're doing something right. In some world, we are like, we're good writers or storytellers or everything, we're podcasters, whatever it is. Like, people are listening. And yet we're still like, no, should I be here? And then these straight white men are like, I'm just doing this because blah, blah, blah. And why can't we get like that? Oh my gosh. It's like and again, there's so many of these men that we are speaking of that I think are really talented. But again, I see so much mediocrity as well that I go, oh, but that could have been me. Why didn't I get my thing produced? And it's like, are you putting it out there? Are you asking people to invest in you? Are you investing in others? Like, why do we keep moving the goalpost when we could be self-servicing and like doing all of the things? Like we should do it.
We should. I know. And it's always funny when I say this because it's like, it's not that straight white men are inherently bad. I have a lot of friends of them. I even have a boyfriend that's one of them. You know, like,
yeah, the boyfriend has to count. I have to say, the boyfriend has to count as an ally.
He counts, you know. At the same time, it doesn't mean that there shouldn't be more opportunities for people of color, for women of color, for trans, for non-binary. Like there just has to be LGBTQ, like there has to be these avenues that other people are able to access at the same rate that the other people are able to. So that's my little rant.
Yeah, accessibility is really important. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yes. And it also ties back into what we were saying earlier when you were talking about bootlegs and whatnot. And what's funny is we're actually coming at this from slightly opposite ways. And I want to talk about it because growing up as a New Yorker, I was always like, bootlegs, like, you know, it's so distracting for me and for the audience. And I still stand by that because it is distracting. However, there has to be this accessibility difference that like things like Newsies and SpongeBob and Legally Blonde and Hamilton, right? Like the ability for them to be filmed. And I know you were talking about this with Ethan Slater from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
And like we need to have something where people don't feel the need to bootleg it because there's a way for people who either can't afford it, can't get to New York, who have other accessibility issues and just can't go to the theater for a 2-3 hour play. Like there's so many reasons. And I feel like people are always tackling one and I appreciate that one, but there are like 5 other reasons that someone might not be able to.
Exactly. And I think about the fact that so many theaters aren't even handicap accessible.
Like absurd.
What? I brought, this sounds like a flex. I swear it isn't. I'm in a different situation now than I was then, but I brought all of my bridesmaid girlfriends to see Hamilton. That was my gift to them, which like, I know. Whoa, yeah, whoa. I'm like, all of you owe me forever. Shut up. It was amazing. But one of them had just had a knee surgery. And we were seeing Chris, not Chris. We were seeing, oh my gosh, James backstage, Iglehart. And so afterwards, like we went back and they were like, oh, we're not sure how we can get, like, she was just on a crutch. And I'm like, if my friend on a crutch is having trouble even going to see the show Hamilton and then going afterwards, that tells me that this is so much bigger of a problem that I had never thought about. So then I started really reevaluating accessibility because that was such small potatoes in comparison to like a lot of people. It's like, this is, you know, she just had a knee surgery. She's going to be able to like walk on both legs, fine. But like other people don't have that luxury. And so, there's just so much to talk about when it comes to accessibility and watching shows. I grew up in Georgia. I grew up in North Georgia. The Newsies bootleg was part of my DNA. Like it literally was like, oh my God, like this is how I'm able to watch AKB. Like this is, how I'm able to do it. But now
I can't blame you.
Okay, like what? Jeremy wasn't in it that long, and we have a film. But now we have a film of it, and I agree with you. There's so much to talk about. Like I believe that producers would make a buttload of money if they just pro shot and then sold it. Like I think everybody would buy it because nobody wants the video, the slime tutorial. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. No. I want the people to continue to get paid, honey, after they've already finished. So it's just like, all right. So that's, you and I probably could talk about that forever. We'll leave it there because there is so much to discuss about it. But no, totally. I think it's a huge conversation.
Beautifully said. And one other thing I will just cap it off with is anytime I watch a film like Newsies, Hamilton, whatever it is, my initial thought is, I can't wait to see this back on stage.
Yes, I think that it's, whenever people say that it's a deterrent, like to do a film, I say no. Nope. Because I don't know a single person that sees it, like you just said, like my mom is one of the biggest Hamilton fans on the planet. She doesn't even like musicals. She loves that one. She watched the Disney Plus and she goes, I can't wait to see that again in person. Aww. And I was like, see, that's how I know. Because even a fan that's listened to the OBC, that got to see OBC, that got to see it again, it's just like, people still want to go. They're going to go. They're going to go.
That's true. So, okay, let's, I feel like I'm like looking at my notes, but like whatever, who cares about notes? We're just like blah.
Yeah.
And part of it is just like listening to what you've been talking about on the radio series and from the podcast. But did I hear that you got tickets for first day back of Drama Bookshop?
Oh my gosh, I did. I literally got like at 11 o'clock. Oh, what time are you going? Maybe we get coffee.
9:45. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Because I just saw it come up. Everyone's like talking about, getting access tickets to it. And it's like, yeah, I want to be able to like take film of Dave and Corin's new store. Like I want to see the design. I'm a small business person. I'm a small bookshop person. So the fact that like all of those things are coming together and it's theater related, I'm like, oh, you bet your sweet booty I'm gonna be there. So yeah, I'm pumped about having a ticket.
Yes,
it was also free, guys. It was $0 because it's just a place in line.
I know.
So there you go.
It's funny. I chose 9:45, and yet I'm jealous of your 11 because I was having.
Yeah, you had the option to go later. Why didn't you choose?
Let me, Grace. Okay. I was talking it through, and there was a part of me that was like, I have FOMO. I have also like journalism FOMO of like, what if there's something early and then I'm like not there to capture it, and I want to be able to film it and post it and whatever. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll go early. And like, thank goodness the 9 a.m. slot was sold out because I did not want that.
No, I mean, if they're giving out baked goods, darn, we missed it. But there's a Taco Bell so close. Like, come on. So close. We're so close.
We're good.
Yeah. It's very exciting. And I didn't even think about there might be like special goodies because it's like the first day. I mean, just getting to see it alone is a feast for my eyes. But I don't, so I'm pumped about it.
I'm so excited. I like don't even know what I want to get yet, which is an exciting thing.
They'll tell me what I'm supposed to buy.
Yep. There will be that stand.
Yeah, I'll probably buy a book I already have, to be frank. I'll probably buy what I usually do at this type of event. If I have the means, I will get one small thing for myself and then one small gift for someone in the future so that I can say like, hey, I thought of you when I was there and this was this. You know what I mean? Like if I have the ability, that's what I like to do.
I love that. Yeah, I know. And like I have so many tote bags, but there's a good possibility this girl will get another.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I didn't even think about the totes. Yeah. I'm going to
tote
have to get
season.
a tote. If there's a mug, see, here's where I get in trouble. If there's a mug, I have like an illustrious mug wall normally.
Yes.
And like I have a lot of SHO mugs. One of my favorite mugs, the handle broke and I glued it back, which is from like the first, I think it was when John Cameron Mitchell was back in Hedwig at the Belasco and they did like a very special mug. Exactly. And so I was just like, nah, I'm just going to glue the handle back. Because how many mugs do you think that I've bought at Broadway Fleet? How many? Probably 20. So exactly. Yeah. Like, so that's where I get in trouble. So if there's a mug, you best believe it's going to be in the cart.
I need to make one of those really cool like designs where I can just stack all of my mugs and, it's like very nicely displayed because, this girl has a lot of mugs. I'm a mug fiend.
Yeah, I got like this thing that attaches to the wall from like Hobby Lobby or something. LOL, rip Hobby Lobby. No. I know, but exactly. But it kind of attaches to the wall, and so and it's great. It shows all the mugs off beautifully. You need something like that. If I find another one in another place, I'll send you the link because you got to display. They don't belong in a cupboard. You got to display. It's like your show posters. You got to display.
Exactly. And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you also have a mug in your merch section?
Oh, I do. I'm launching like all new merch with that included with the new season of the podcast because I'm also doing a collab. You're the first to hear about it because I love small businesses and I truly do love supporting women. Like there are so many small businesses that can't afford the luxury of doing podcast sponsorships. Like as much as, we love sponsorships and that's great. I love the ones that I have. But there are so many small businesses that I like supporting that can't possibly afford to do that kind of branding. So I've partnered with this chai company in Chattanooga that is run by this amazing woman named Stephanie. Because I love chai tea. This is generally just because I love her chai tea. It has nothing to do with anything else. And so I was like, can we do a collab and like if you'll just like have a sticker on there, like about my podcast, like could we do like so I collaborated with her on making a lavender chai to go with my whole mug situation. I know it's gonna be. I tasted it last week. I'm telling you, show it's so good. I'm not just saying. I'm like not trying to hawk a thing, but as soon as it's released, like DM me your address because it's happening. So that's where I'm at with the. So I gotta put something in my mugs. So yeah, but we're having that launch as part of like the whole new merch section. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Lavender chai. I've never had it, and I don't know why, because that sounds like my favorite thing ever.
It's about to be your favorite thing ever. I'm so sorry to tell you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you.
As I'm wearing my lavender shirt right here.
Yeah, you look fabulous. What is this going on? It's like an applique lace moment, high neck.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, just a high neck lace. You know, we're doing it up. We're doing it up.
No, you are doing it up. It's great. It's fabulous. Yeah, we were talking about the earrings earlier. They're gorgeous.
Thank you, my dear.
Very Hadestown. There you go.
Look at you. Very Hadestown. Yes, I know. I'm that person that dresses up for shows. And when I say dress up, like I'm not gonna like cosplay the whole thing. Sometimes maybe, but I'll like wear something.
That's fun. It's like Disney bound, but for theater.
You get it. You get it.
I really get it. Like if you go back in my Instagram photos, like you'll see I get it. I think I was at some show. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the show, but I understand. And I'm wearing like a head to toe like green leopard like worker suit moment, like a mechanic suit, but it's like green leopard. And I was just like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna wear. I wore like a prom outfit. I wore like a tuxedo when I was at the opening for the prom. Like I always believe like life is too short to not cosplay your life. And so like if you want to wear a thing, wear the thing. Who's coming up to you and being like, you look dumb? And I'm like,
yo,
you said that to me?
Rude.
No one's ever done that. If anything, they're like, you look fabulous because you're owning it. Anytime you wear something that brings you joy, it exudes on the outside. So like, wear whatever you want.
Wear whatever you want. Grace, you just reminded me of what I wore to the prom the first time I saw it.
What'd you wear? What'd you wear?
Oh my God. I like need to find a picture of this because it sounds like from the way I'm saying it that this was like 10 years ago. Like, oh my God, haha, so embarrassing.
Like 2 years ago. It was literally 2 years ago. Chill.
Oh my God. So there was, I was at Nordstrom Rack and I was shopping for a friend's wedding. Was it? Yeah, I think I was shopping for a friend's wedding. And all of a sudden I see this like red Topshop dress that kind of has like poofy sleeves, but like a cute little top. And I'm like, this feels 80s prom to me, but I kind of love it. And it's on sale. And I think I need to get it. And I did. And I thought to myself, if I don't wear this to the prom, I literally don't know what I'm doing with my life. And there was a part of me that was like, this is so extra. Like, I can't believe I'm actually wearing this. And it was during Broadway Con weekend. So like, people.
Yeah.
But then people loved it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I should just live my life. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, because if I sat at home and just thought about all the people that would rag on me for an outfit, I'd never leave the house. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So yeah, my closet is weird. And I love that. You know, I one of my favorite designers is Rachel Antonoff, and she does a lot of really bold, stupid prints. Like I say stupid in like a loving way. Like I bought a dress that's all Jello. It's ridiculous. There's one print that she does that's like caviar, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous, and I need it on my body. And it brought me a lot of joy. It brings others joy. Like, wear what you want, enjoy your life. It's too short to not.
Way too short. Come on now. So let's go back to early days of you seeing theater, whether it was in Georgia, New York, or on your computer. What? Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are like some memorable moments of seeing a show and being like, I just need to like live in this world. I need to immerse myself as much as possible.
Yeah. I think that the first time I saw what I called a real play, I think I was about 10 years old, and my mom took me to Dalton Little Theater to see The Glass Menagerie. And it actually, like, I know, like, I'm in North Georgia, accents are accents. But seeing The Glass Menagerie, seeing a Tennessee Williams show, like, I sat there and I was like, that's acting. Like that's what plays are. That's what theater is. And I saw, I was like, in the middle. It's a small 80-seat theater. So you're right there watching the actors. And they were really incredible. And my mom and I have this memory of me being like, I really want to do that. Like I really liked that people were listening to each other and then they were telling a story and then they were telling the audience a bit. Like it was just, I just have a very visceral memory of that. And I was doing a lot of like musicals because when you're a kid and you like theater, they're just like, do a musical. And you're like, okay. And I was doing like Ramona Quimby, the musical. I was doing like Annie. I was like, I don't think I was Molly, but maybe I was. And I like stood on the table and I was like, hey, over there, hey, dad. Like I did the whole like thing. You're never fully dressed bit. But I told my dad that I wanted to be an actor. And he was just like, okay, well then like you're gonna have to go do real plays. He was like, musicals aren't real plays. He was like, that's not for serious actors. Obviously we know more now. But I was like, 11 and I was like, cool, I agree. And then I auditioned for To Kill a Mockingbird at the Dalton Little Theater that was doing the real plays. And I got to do that with my mom. And the reason I say my mom is because, again, she had no performing background. My mom is not a performer, but in this particular production of To Kill a Mockingbird that is very much based on the book, unlike the Broadway version, I'll say it out loud, I'll say it here on the show.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, hot takes. If you've ever read my Twitter, you know that this is not a thing that I shy away from because I love To Kill a Mockingbird as a book so much. And Harper Lee's work is impeccable, and I don't think that any man should touch it. But I have to say, I was doing this play, and the way that this play is based on the book is that they have older Jean Louise Scout as a narrator figure. And my mom obviously looks like me, and I was playing Scout, and they were like, could you audition and like read it? And my mom would like she got the part. She would like throw up before she'd go on stage every night because she has so much anxiety. Like she's not a people person. Like she's an absolute introvert. And she would look me dead in my heart every night and she would say, I love you so much that I did this for you and I will never do anything like this ever again. And she was totally right, but I have great memories of it. And so like seeing theater at that young age in my community and really respecting it and respecting people and like the way they worked together in a non-professional setting is what I think has lasted with me for so long to say that like, so that's why I always perpetuate the idea that community theater is absolutely the core and the backbone of all theater. I think that every actor on Broadway starts off by being like, well, I did summer stock here, I did repertory theater here, I did community theater here. And when I was like growing up, I did like the school play or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it starts somewhere, right? So like, let's give some love to our nonprofits and 501c3s. Like they're out here doing the work and like creating these people that you guys talk about for years to come. So that's my earliest memory of seeing a show is just being like the Glass Menagerie was so important to me. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, what a lovely story though. Let me just take off my glasses. Yeah. I'm so emotional.
Oh my God. Cut to me seeing the revival, like what was it a couple of years ago? I think it was Sally Field was in the show and who also looks exactly like my mom, to be honest. And I was like, this is such a full circle experience for me because I got like a rush ticket and I was on like the first row because you know how that goes when you get like a rush ticket and you're like, I am inside the organs of these actors. Like I am absolutely like they need to give me consent before I am this close to them. Like it was
Splash Zone.
Splash Zone, and well, John Groff Splash Zone. If you're
that
he's at, but
true.
Yeah, so like I just I remember seeing it and being like, yeah, I still love this. I still love this play. Like I still love seeing straight plays and sitting here. Long Day's Journey into Night. That was one that I had to really test my patience with God, as far as like longevity of sitting. But other than that, I'll sit through anything.
I will admit here that I like a straight play, but I love a musical.
You love a musical, and that's totally fine. Like I love them too. I just remember this, like just being a little girl and being like, I respect plays. Like
I'm a hard actor.
Yeah. I want to be taken seriously. I mean, like when you're a young girl and like you want to do that thing. I didn't want to be in Reckless or Ruthless. Is that what it's called? The little girl musical, whatever. I didn't want to be that. I did not want to be like Annie. I didn't want to be Once Upon a Mattress. I was shy, but I wanted to be taken seriously. And when you are a cute little girl and even like under 5 foot, people still kind of do the thing where they're like, oh, like you're so cute, and I'm like, but I could be important, like, you know what I mean? Like I want to, I want to do all the things, and so we shouldn't limit ourselves.
100%. And you know, like you're saying this, but this is so true for adults too. Like everything I'm hearing you say, I've heard from my friends be like, I love doing musicals, but people don't say I'm an important actor until I do a straight play. And I'm like, what? Like, live your life. These people are doing, like, I don't get it.
But a lot of it falls on casting. It sucks.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, but I see them this way. And it's like, nah. Oh my God, the eyes, yes. You feel like, Grace, I know. So it's just like, we gotta let people and artists be all of themselves all of the time. Stop putting us in a box. Stop putting us in a box. Yeah.
Come on now. I know. Come on. This is just, it's so true. And like, I will also say, let people enjoy what they like. If they like these goofy musicals that bring you joy, why does everything have to make you cry? I cry enough. I don't need to go to the theater to cry all the time. Just sometimes.
Yes. I remember, what was it, 4 years ago now, when I was at the opening preview of Groundhog Day. And I was like, this might be one of the most important musicals that I've ever seen in New York. Like, absolutely hands down. I was like, every school should have to see this show because of the direction. Like, watching people, like the actors really manipulate. Because also we were in this new age of like using projection screens. And like, those can be very cool. And like, I'm not out here like crapping on that. But there was just so much about like fundamental like magic and the excitement of like watching these people relive. They had to memorize so much, and I was just like, this is great. Like I wasn't coming out of that being like, man, I'm scarred for life. Like, you know, I need to be in pain to enjoy a show. Like, no. There's so many great pieces of theater that we can all learn from that are traditionally very happy and silly and fun. I know a lot of people are really big Legally Blonde stans, and they will sit by that show hardcore. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, there could be something to that. Like, I loved Heathers. It moved me. It was satire. It was funny. I respected it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't like the gatekeeping of like, this is important, this isn't. Like, no. If it's good, it's good.
Yep. Revolutionary joy. Oh yeah. For sure. Yeah, it's so funny. And also like the word stand, I think is so funny because like just where also, hello, Kelly. Yes, I know. Every time Kelly comes and your ukulele pop star 1019, I'm like, who? And I've learned that it is Kelly Lynn Hayes. Hello there.
Oh, thanks, Kelly.
Yeah.
Love you.
I know.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. I need you to do the set for my show, please. Thanks. We'll talk later. Anyways. Like, you're amazing.
Great. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Big fan. Kelly was on the series earlier.
Amazing.
So wonderful. So yeah, no, I love Legally Blonde. I sing Chip on My Shoulder all the time.
I've never seen it. I don't even know the songs.
Stop.
I'm serious.
Stop it.
That's why. That's why it's like I love that people have this great fandom for that show that I truly don't know anything about, other than like I grew up watching and religiously addicted to Legally Blonde the film, because again, I saw Reese Witherspoon on the screen, and it's not that I saw myself like, you know, but I heard a person with a Southern accent that was being respected in film industry, which traditionally doesn't happen. And so that's one big reason that like when I saw Waitress the musical, I was like, I finally see myself, which had not happened. Because she was, at the time that I was seeing the show, was Kimiko Glenn, and she is an Asian American woman. There was a Southern accent involved, and I was like, what, it could happen? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so representation is so important. I don't even know how we got there, but Stan. The only Stan that I believe in is Sebastian. That's where I'm going to leave it. I saw him walking out of Slave Play on Christmas Day, and I thought, you, sir, are too sexy. Like, this is too much. Like, you've got to stop. It's too much. It's too much.
I mean, we love a Marvel crossover.
We do, but I was also like, what are you doing at Slave Play on Christmas?
It's such a specific thing.
It was very specific. I was just getting like dumplings down the street, and then I was picking up my little brother, who I had paid for a ticket to see Slave Play on Christmas, and I was like, what a phenomena.
What a phenomenon. It sounds like we have very similar eating habits for Christmas.
Oh, yes, probably so. Probably so.
Yes. Yes. That's I love dumplings. If you're not having dumplings or some sort of, Thai food, Chinese food, Japanese food, like for me, are you even Jewish? That's really the question.
Oh, I mean, who's to say? Like, I think that all of us should always be going to Asian establishments for federal holidays or whatever it is. Like, like religious. I was actually at Russ and Daughters in the Lower East Side during one of the nights of Hanukkah, and I got to watch them like light the menorah as a group. And I'm not traditionally from a Jewish family, but I have many friends that are. And so like, it was very exciting to see. I think it was the night before, it was Christmas Eve that we all got to go. And I was just like, this is so amazing. Like, I'm so glad that like people feel comfortable with me like watching this, because I can enjoy someone's food, because I think that a lot of times we get in this thing where we're like, I like their food but I'm not going to give a crap about their culture, and it's like, what?
Why?
Like, it's strange. It's so strange to me. So I'm just like, if I'm going to ingest part of their culture, I need to be more well-rounded and ingest more parts of it. So yeah, like I'm down for that. Christmas, let's have dumplings. I don't know.
I'm here for this crossover. I'll bring the menorah, you bring the dumplings.
Let's go.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Mm-hmm.
So, as natural of a transition as this is there a nonprofit or charity that you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, so I'll shout out the one that my mom has worked at for 35 years, which is the United Way of Northwest Georgia. Any United Way that you give to provides services to the community that you're talking about. So like, you can literally, if you're like addicted to Amazon, which like everyone unfortunately like has to imbibe sometimes, like that's just the truth of it. You can actually click on Smile Donate, which is at the top of your Amazon, and then you can request whatever 501c3 nonprofit that you really believe in and trust. And so like, I always put mine with United Way of Northwest Georgia, because my mom has worked there for so many years that I know what services they're providing for the community all the time. And so especially during COVID, they were able to raise so many funds for people in need, which almost all of us were, to be frank. And so I just watched them and a lot of other United Ways really service their community in ways that I had never seen happen before. Like I'm used to them being able to like navigate the day-to-day of being a charity, but like during COVID times, they were like, how can we get masks to people that are in areas that don't have them? How can we get food to kids that traditionally live off of their school lunch that's in a pay-free program? And so I think that just investing your time in smaller charities really helps like build your community. Even if you live in New York City, there are still New York City only charities that provide services to your community. So always a big fan of United Way, especially because I know where it goes.
Great one. Yeah, definitely. I never really knew about United Way until I was a reporter in West Texas.
Oh, okay. So during the I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I was there from 2017 for 2 years. And I mean, they were doing great work up in Big Spring, Texas. Big fan, doing wonderful work. And they had like empty bowls, and people would like create these bowls, and then you'd go have like 50 different soups. And I was like, wait, this is awesome. Why don't more people do this? It would be a big hit.
That's why they're so amazing as a charity, is because they assess what the community needs right then. They don't just go like, oh, okay, let's take $1 million and then give it to this charity we always give it to. They every year they go through, even week by week, they're like, oh, who needs this? Somebody needs a washer. We're going to get them a washer. Boys and Girls Club needs supplies for this after school activity just to keep, like kids in safe programs. We're going to get them this. So it's like, that's the middleman that I need all the time. So,
if we could get more of that in our daily lives, that would just be magical.
I think that's what Google Drive is. I think Google Drive is what that is for us. But otherwise, I'm not sure.
We're still figuring it out. Yeah. So this is a time for you to just like promote away, as any interview does. We want you to just give us where people can find you on social media. Tell us about this exciting June 2nd season and all that jazz.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much, obviously, like for providing this platform for so many artists. Like, This is wonderful. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at It's Grace Aki. You can find me and my podcast called Tell Me on a Sunday podcast on Twitter and any platform that you listen to podcasts on. It's there. You can also, if you want to support me just literally as a visual artist, you can go to my Etsy store, which is Grace Aki Made It. Also, you can find that through all of my links on all of my bios for my social media platforms. So if you're like, I do a lot of like drawings, visual art, like custom work. And obviously it's been getting me through this pandemic, which is fantastic. So yeah, you can support me in 100 different ways. And I'm always appreciative. And I've got that, my solo show To Free a Mockingbird coming up in June. If you follow me on social media platforms, you will be bombarded with that information. I promise you it's presented by SHREK. It's going to be the first totally like non-workshopped produced production of my show, which I'm so honored to present to people. Please, I'm like begging you to watch it. I think that the ticket is going to be super inexpensive, and then you can donate to the artists if you want. But it'll be on streaming platforms that I will promote on my Twitter and Instagram, which is It's Grace Aki, AKI. That's how you can find me all of the time. And again, thank you so much for doing this. Like, this was such a joy. I love your content. I love the positivity you put out into the world. I think that we are both similar in the fact that like we do this out of love, we do this out of care for the arts. And so yeah, guys, support people that are supportable. I don't know. We're like the best maxi pad you will ever find. Like that's what we're out here doing. We're supporting the women for the cause. And you know what? No panty lines.
Oh, exactly. What a good promo pull quote.
Please don't. Can I just say this to all of your viewers? Don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Oh my God. I love it. It's a great analogy. Even if we won't use it as a pull quote, it's something for people to remember.
Just try. Yeah.
Just try.
You won't forget us, that's for sure.
That's for darn sure. That's true. I know that I'm wrapping things up, but we still have a few more minutes, so I'm just gonna pull you away for two more seconds here, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
So tell us a story about telling stories on your podcast, because I love how you really, when you like ask a question, you're like, tell us a story about, and it's perfect. It's like such a great segue. Everyone knows where we're going. So just tell us a story of doing the podcast.
Well, let's see. I think just because it's top of mind, you mentioned the Ethan Slater one. Before I even had like an inkling of what I wanted to do for the podcast, I knew that I wanted to ask people that I felt like a good origin story for it. And so I remember meeting him backstage at the Cheetah Rivera Awards, and we were both just young people being like, how are we back here? Like I think he was presenting something. So that's neither here nor there, but we were sitting back there, and Anne Ranking was sitting next to me, and then Ben Vereen was on the other side of her. And then it was George C. Wolfe. And we were sitting there like, do you think that they're going to grab their goodie bags if like, we don't, like, should we just grab our goodie bags? Like it was just such a weird situation. And like, but also like, that's how friendships are born. And so, and then of course, like he was able, we went out to Hoboken in my apartment and like recorded the show. And now he's like, he's traveling and he's working on so many great things. And I say all this to say that like, talk to people, you know what I mean? Like if you, not in like a creepy, like fan way, but just being like, if you feel like you're going to enjoy the energy of a person, like if they don't seem like they're like, in another place, because let's face it, when people are coming out of the stage door of a show, that's not the time to be like, we should be friends. It's like, well, that's going to be a hard pass at this point. You know what I mean? But still like showing gratitude and being like, hey, I like what you do. You know what I mean? Like just being a real person and like sharing stories and listening is something that I've always enjoyed doing because honestly, famously, I grew up a kid of divorce, and that's part of my therapy journey is learning that like I was constantly wanting to entertain people because I wanted to keep their attention because I was so scared of abandonment. And that's something that I've just had to learn to unpack. But at the same time, I go, this is how exactly. But this is how, like friendships in this industry are born. It has to be from an honest and kind place. So that's why I love the storytelling platform, is because you learn a lot about a person and their upbringing, and it makes you a more well-rounded person. So that's kind of that. I guess that's how I would button it.
Well, and I'm now realizing one more thing that we have just in common. I mean, also famously a child of divorce, and it's a thing that I think a lot of people, when they are children of divorce, that like they for some reason gravitate towards each other because you have this feeling of like, was it my fault? Was it not? Like, did I do something? And it's not. Like, for anyone out there who's like, was it my fault? It wasn't your fault. But you know, when you're a kid, you're like, I don't know what's going on. And making real connections, right? Not at a stage door. I mean, a stage door, you can be like, oh my God, I love your work. It was so great. You know, keep it to that. But then, you know, you randomly, I will say that something nice, the one nice thing about this pandemic, which like, who could ever say that really, is the virtual connections that maybe wouldn't have, like taking chances because it doesn't matter where in the world you are. And so reaching out to people from all over the place and making it more accessible, that has been one thing that I'm like, oh, I've made so many new friends from people all over the world that I like met during the pandemic. How cool.
Exactly. And that's the thing, just being always your most authentic self. I don't mean like you have to put on a parade every single day. We all have bad days. Like I live with bipolar depression too, like not TOO like two, it's a separate diagnosis. But like just being the most yourself reads on all of your platforms. If you're always like posting a selfie that's like, you know what I mean? Like you working out like on a pool, like physically, like pool. Jesus, like levitating, Dua Lipa style.
It's impressive.
Well, I have done it. But I have to say, you know, like no one cares anymore. And so like you have to be you. And so like, I love that you're your most authentic self. We've all learned how to do that in this pandemic. I encourage your viewers to do the same thing.
Yes. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. So y'all can find me at BWaySHO. That's BWAYSHO, like Broadway Show Shauna.
Oh, there we go. Oh, what a beautiful plug.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You can see that here through this wonderful illustration by Chelsea Hill, aka Illustrating Diva. And you can also find me at BWaySHO Podcast for all of your BWaySHO, the podcast needs. And stay tuned because we have a very exciting announcement coming like today or tomorrow. We'll see when it comes out. So like, crazy, very exciting. Stay tuned for all that. I will very much be plugging it everywhere. So when you see social media, you'll just be like, whoa, okay, we get it. But you know, it'll be worth it because this happens once in a blue moon that you have such an exciting thing to promote as you do in June. So we will be both promoting different times, different things, but with the same energy.
An aggressive mermaid energy is what we're talking about. And I need all of you on board for all of it. Retweet, like all of our stuff, because that's the only way any of this happens. That's how we can, support women.
Support women. On that note, support women.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying yes and coming on the series. It's been so lovely chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was wonderful.
Yay. And thank you all for viewing, chatting along. And if you're watching this in the future, I hope the future is treating you well. Bye, y'all. See you at the show.